All right, y'all, I'm gonna try to film this, but my sons are in the room next to me playing guitars off and on really loud, so I may have to voice over this in a moment, but we'll give it a shot. So today we are on day 29 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, where there's actually gonna be 31. And our sketch today is created by Susanna Lee. It looks like a really fun multi-photo sketch and pretty simple, honestly, if we look at it here. All we have is, it looks like a plain background paper. I cut it off just a little bit here, but there's just a little embellishment up there on the top. And we've got one strip of patterned paper, it looks like, or dark paper here, and then another single strip, and then our four little photo clusters here. Each one has its own little title that goes with it. It says long title goes down the page, but I think you could do separate little titles. And then just very minimal looking embellishments. And we'll see how that works out for me, because y'all know how I am when it comes to embellishments. So I am going to, for this sketch, I have decided to dig back into my Spectrum Sherbet. It's been a little bit since I have used it, maybe a couple of weeks or so since I have used some Spectrum Sherbet. So as you can see, I've got a giant pile of things here that will work and go along with what I'm going to use. Obviously, I'm not going to use all of this, but I just like to have it all together. But let's get to what I know I'm going to do. So I have the sketch here, and then the four photos I chose are of when my husband and I went to the Grand Canyon this summer. And I've gone ahead and I've printed off excuse me, 4 photos that I actually had horizontally, because generally I take them vertically. So I did actually have a few that I had taken horizontally to get the full picture of the canyon. So these are the 4 photos I'm going to use. And then what I had thought, the only thing I have planned at this moment is those 4 photos, and I want this to be my background paper. Okay, so the 4 photos, this will be what she shows as white here, but I'm not going all white. I'm going to go a little bit of this mixed media look on the background, which I think will be really nice with the colors in the photo. So we've got blues, although these are a little more turquoisey blue. We've got some greens and some yellows, and then of course some of the orangey rock there. So I really liked all of the colors there on the background, and I thought this would be not too busy for it. So that's my thought process with that. And then secondly, I think I would like to take a portion of this for that one solid piece here. So I would cut off this section for that solid piece. And that's about all I have for a plan at this point. I've got all of these other sheets of paper because I thought perhaps I might be able to use them for some of the squares here. So I have this, possibly, maybe not, we'll see. I've got some of the pink left from another project. I pulled that out just in case that could be something. I have this green sheet that I've already cut into, and that might work. I was specifically thinking this part here. I like this part. So I was thinking that, but also for background, I have both the Strawberry Lemonade ephemera bits and I have the Tidal Wave ephemera bits. So I may be able to pull some things out of this to use as these squares in the background there. And then as far as embellishments go, like I said, I have these. I have some wishing bubbles in multiple colors here that I could pull from. I have tags, if I would like tags. I've got chipboard, if I would like chipboard. I have rub-ons, both the big sheet and the small sheet of the Strawberry Lemonade. I'm liking this orangey and the yellow. I think that would be really cool as far as that goes. And then I also have the laser cut elements that I could pull from, and I'm thinking maybe some of the lace parts of it would look really nice because there is this little strip right here. So I'm going to see how that might work. Sorry about the guitars in the background. They are going if you can hear them. And then I kind of liked these for some of the title bits. Like I said, I don't know that I'm going to do one long title, but I might use some of these words. I thought they might be kind of cool. We'll see though how that all works out in the end. but that's kind of where my idea is at, my thought process is at the moment. I know I have a lot to choose from here. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and I'm going to cut my main pieces and get those things together and maybe start to look through what I might want to do for these background sheets. Do I want some of this? I do think maybe I want this. I don't know. I'll look at that and see, and then I will look through the ephemera bits to see what I can find. And then I'll be back in just a moment and we'll walk through it. All right, everyone, so I have gone ahead and I've cut down the blue ombre piece, and I did about, I thought I was doing 4 inches, but I think I actually did 3. I decided to use the strip that was on the bottom of the page as well as a piece of lace. And I decided I kind of wanted to play around with the rub-ons. So I did take one of the large yellow rub-ons from the sheet that I'd had. And I really like this. However, I'm going to tell y'all right now that once I get done, you can't even see it. I think I put it a little bit too close to the paper and I thought it was going to show better, but it ends up not really showing up at all. So it was kind of a waste of a rub-on, but it looked kind of cool there. I think what happened is I measured everything. Well, actually, I know what happened. I measured everything when I just had the photos and not the paper strips that go underneath the photos. And I didn't even take into account the fact that the matting behind the photos was going to stretch past where I put this rub on. So yeah, live and learn. It was kind of a waste, but at least you can see how they work there and how you can, like I'm doing right now, you can use parts in different areas. So I left like this section of splatters so that I could kind of distribute them a little bit more across the page. So yeah, that's how you use the rub-ons. Unfortunately, don't be like me and put it too close and cover it all up, because then it's no fun and you just kind of waste it. I went ahead and I just scuffed up the top and the bottom here because I'm going to be covering up the one edge. So I didn't feel the need to take the time to scuff the edge when I was just going to cover it with the branding strip and the piece of lace. So I'm just showing you here. I don't know. Sometimes I leave in the scuffing for those who maybe are new to it and have never done it before. I know probably most of you guys have done it lots and lots of times, but this is just using my little Tim Holtz edge distressing tool, and it's really nice, especially on this 49 market paper, because it's really thick. Sometimes when I'm using a thinner paper, I prefer to use my scissors just because I have a little bit more control. I don't have to push quite as hard to get it to scuff. I tend to like a lot of scuff and not just a little bit, so I tend to push a little bit harder. So that's what I'm doing with the branding strip, and I didn't make you watch me glue down the lace because it took a little bit longer to do that. And now I'm just going through the Tidal Wave ephemera set. I left this part in so you could kind of see, because most everything that I use comes from this Tidal Wave. I do go through the strawberry lemonade as well, but I skipped that part because I barely use anything from the strawberry lemonade. I decide in the end to just kind of do mostly the blues and greens, although I do use a bit of orange because I used the rub-on, and the orange is showcased on the page. So, you know, I do have it there, so I decided to use a little bit of the orange, but I don't make you watch me go through the entire pack of the strawberry lemonade when I go through that. There, see, I've already gone through it, and I kind of have some stuff pulled out that I think I might use, but I'm going to barely use any of it. So that's why I didn't leave it there for you guys. I am going to show you how I mat my photos, because this layout is pretty simple. It's mostly just the background and then the matted photos here. So I did use one of the cards from In the Ephemera. I cut it down, and yes, I do save those little pieces from it because it's a really nice thick weight, and it would actually work really nice as another layer sometime for another layout. So I decided I was going to keep them. Here's the first one here. I went with kind of an ombre card. It's like the greens and light blues. I thought about using the pink, but I set it aside, and I went to instead use this scrap of the green because I'd said I liked those little tabs there, which I do. So I do go ahead and use this green. I'm not going to leave in all of the cutting up of everything. I just kind of left this in this time so that you guys could see the process of how I was thinking through matting these photos. It's not even really matting because the photos are only kind of partially on the little mats and they're way bigger. It was kind of a cool little element that Susanna had in the sketch, and I kind of appreciate it. I never really think to do this with the papers, just kind of having the photos like sort of sitting on it. I'm usually quite like I'll mat the whole thing multiple times, and this time is just, it really isn't working out like that. So, excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's in the morning and I'm barely woken up when I'm filming this. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and I decided once I got the mats done that I kind of wanted to go in order of darkening, I guess you could say. So I used a pretty light colored blue up on the top. The second one is the matte that I cut from the card. So it's got a little bit darker blue, but it's still light and bleeds into green. Then I went to the green one. And at the bottom it was almost all white. It's actually still a part of that green and white paper that have like the little green tabs on the top. I just went to a section that had almost all white on it. And I kind of liked the effect of like almost just bleeding out the color. And then as I go with my embellishments, as you can see here, I'm putting orange down at the bottom. And I'm kind of like going with the color of the card as I go up. I apologize for skipping ahead. I actually had turned my camera off to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, and I forgot to turn it back on as I was going. So yeah, now you've kind of see basically where this layout is headed. My family had come into the room to talk to me, and I just forgot to turn the camera back on as I was putting the pieces on. So what I decided to do, as you can see, is I didn't really do one long title. I'm doing basically one kind of title-ish wordy bit per each photo cluster. So on the top, I've got a note card, which I am going to add where we were. And it says, "Oh, happy day." The second one is a banner that says happiness. And then there's that little circular bit says, "Oh, happy day" on it. The next one has a definition. And I'm sorry, I can't read it right now. Maybe if I turn my camera here. Nope, still can't read it. It's a definition card. And then on the bottom, I used one of those stickers from... it's a big sticker sheet, but it's like vellum, or I'm sorry, not vellum, washi tape stickers, and it's like a whitish washi, and then it's just got the black lettering and black pictures, and it says natural. So I decided to use that one on the bottom with the orange. And I'm just kind of using right now the chipboard to build up that cluster on the bottom. I decided I wanted to do a mini cluster next to each of the photos, which was not really on the sketch. She just had some hearts placed there, so just really simple. But again, like you know me, I tend to not be super simple when it comes to embellishing. So yeah,
You're going to see that here. But I feel like I did okay. I didn't go overboard with any embellishments. I just wanted to give each photo its own special little cluster. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. On that one I'm doing right now, I did find a tag. I decided to do to color match on each one. So up at the top, I used a little bit lighter blue, a little bit darker blue on the second photo, green on the third, and then orange on the fourth. And I stick to this pretty well throughout the whole thing. I try to keep with that matching. It's kind of going along with the colors along the side, kind of. But I don't use pink. I just do orange instead for the bottom, which is pinky, orangey, yellowish color there. I decided to use another one of the rub-ons since I couldn't see the one I put on there. I do only use an orange one. I really kind of wanted one in the green section, but I do something else there that's going to kind of cover that up anyway, so it's okay to not have it. But I do use one there in the orange. I wanted some of that to show, and I was really frustrated that my yellow one wasn't showing. So I decided to put a little orange one in there, and it just kind of peeks out from underneath. Here I am adding where we were, which was the Grand Canyon, and I'm adding the date, which is July of 2022. I didn't want to forget that I wanted to put those two things in there. On the sketch, she had quite a bit of journaling over where my green things would be at this point, but I decided I didn't want to do that, so I put my little journaling on those two spaces. Next to the photos. I'm putting a few little butterflies here, and I was going to end at the butterflies, but then I decided no, not enough. And so I went in and I grabbed this floral, and I'm going to just kind of stick the florals like kind of sticking out of the orange cluster there, because they're little orange flowers. And I liked it because it was next to the word natural, even though there aren't flowers, in my photos. I still wanted to put some kind of nature there by that word natural. So I decided to go with these little sprigs of flowers here. And I think they turned out really cute. I do add a little bit of the green. I just kind of cut it up because it was really long, and I didn't want it to be as long as it was. So I just kind of cut it up and used the pieces here in my little cluster. And I think that looks super cute by the time I got done. And then I decided I needed one more spot that had a floral because I didn't want it to look all odd. So I found these little tiny short flowers on this is the laser cut elements. And so I decided to take these little tiny florals, and I'm just going to kind of tuck them up at the top. There. So now I have one more little spot with florals. The other two, I didn't feel like I needed florals. I thought that the butterflies and the other pieces were just fine. So I did not add florals to those. And as a little finishing touch here, I decided I wanted a little bit of white splatters on each of my little clusters. I do not go crazy with this, guys. It's just a little bit to kind of mimic how the background has like the white showing through on everything. So I just did a little bit on each of the clusters. And I think it adds just that perfect finishing touch here. Now, after I got done with the splatters, I did feel like it was missing something, and unfortunately, I don't show it to you. So when I do the slow down here in a second, you're not going to see it. But I do add a little cluster of enamel dots above the tickets in the green, and I believe up at the top underneath the top butterfly. So you won't see it in this slow down, but you will see it in the still shots. And I'm trying to get you a nice little close-up of each little cluster. You can see how those sprinkles just add a little bit to it. It just helps it go with the background a little bit better, I think. And you can see the difference and the dimension in each one of those little clusters. So, yeah, once I go here, in just a second, look at that paint all over my hand. You can see the little enamel dots that I added I just felt like those two clusters needed a little something because they didn't get florals. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and please make sure you click on the hashtag so that you can see everybody else's creations, and I will see y'all next time. Bye for now.